It'll be a good matchup, a good physical matchup.
Deion Dawkins openly admitting that this is going to be a physical matchup versus the Indianapolis Colts.
They're a bigger group, like they're large, very, very large humans.
Historically, we have seen the Buffalo Bills somewhat struggle against physical teams and teams that run the ball. And the way that we have overcome that in the past is with Josh Allen, this high potent passing attack, running up the score, taking teams away from being able to run the ball. But the problem is that we are awfully thin at wide receiver. Keon Coleman being hurt, Amari Cooper being hurt, some other players being nicked up. How are the Buffalo Bills going to overcome this? Now, the Colts are sitting at 4-5, but they've made a move to Joe Flacco, who is a much more developed quarterback at this point than Anthony Richardson. Thus, I think Joe Flacco kind of meshes well with what they are trying to do, a physical style offense, win the turnover differential. I think Joe Flacco is fully capable of taking care of the football and making wise decisions. And we can't forget Jonathan Taylor, one of the best, if not the best running back in the NFL, physicality wise, and just all around great running back. I think their offensive line is obviously one of the best in the NFL. Knowing that we just brought in Jordan Phillips and Justin Jefferson, trying to shore things up against the run. Obviously, that 87-yard touchdown with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. We were missing our guy there, Terrell Bernard, Balin Spector filling in that spot. Cole Bishop's first NFL game starting for the Buffalo Bills was in that matchup too. So I think the Buffalo Bills are in a much better position this week going against the Indianapolis Colts than what we were against the Baltimore Ravens when they had Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. And to give you some insight as to how well the Indianapolis Colts are running the football so far this year, I believe Joe Flacco is not going to be able to shred our defense passing the ball going against Christian Benford, Rasul Douglas, who shut out Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle and Tua last week. I really think the Buffalo Bills are going to fare well against the pass. My concern is Jonathan Taylor, this offensive line, Joe Flacco taking care of the football, establishing play action. And we could see here that the Indianapolis Colts actually have 20 yards more rushing the football than the Buffalo Bills. And keep in mind, we do have Josh Allen and his overall rushing ability. Joe Flacco isn't a quarterback that's going to run it. So they've really been relying on Jonathan Taylor, their offensive line, and he's been getting the majority of the rushing yards. One thing that is benefiting the Buffalo Bills is the total defensive stats. Indianapolis Colts are allowing the second highest rushing yards so far this season, and the Buffalo Bills are all the way down here at 1,111. Indianapolis Colts at 1,348. You can see yards per game, Indianapolis Colts at 149.8, whereas the Buffalo Bills are at 123.4. So the question is, are the Buffalo Bills, who are thin at wide receiver, going to be able to run up the score with our wide receivers and take the Indianapolis Colts out of rushing the football? Well, I think we could still do that, obviously, but seeing these stats, it's clear that the Buffalo Bills with James Cook and Ray Davis and our offensive line with Aaron Cromer could fully run over the Indianapolis Colts and run the ball right down their throat. We all know that Keon Coleman suffered a wrist injury last week against Miami Dolphins and kept him out of practice Wednesday and Thursday. It's highly unlikely that he's going to be a go for this game. On top of that, the trade for Amari Cooper, who sat out last weekend with a wrist injury of his own. He hasn't had his full reps in practice this week, therefore he might be limited during the game or just fully out altogether. Now, this will put a larger workload on Khalil Shakir, perhaps Matt Collins, Curtis Samuel. We might even see KJ Hamler, Tyrell Shavers, and also Jalen Virgil coming up for the Buffalo Bills to fill in for the losses to Keon Coleman and Amari Cooper. We already discussed it, the physical battle that's going to happen here on the Buffalo Bills defensive side of the football against Jonathan Taylor, one of the best left tackles in the NFL, with Beard Rahman. I think that's definitely going to be a matchup to key in on. Von Miller is back. Last week was his first game back. Jordan Phillips is here now. Justin Jefferson is here now. I think the Buffalo Bills are definitely going to shore things up against the run. And again, having Terrell Bernard against the run, although he's not the biggest, he has an ability to have instincts. He reads and reacts very well, play diagnose his things, and he can get into the backfield and have tackles for loss. So it's not just being physical and taking on blocks and shedding blocks. It's about avoiding those blocks, penetrating and making a play. Colts are missing a starter at right guard. Dalton Tucker is a replacement for the usual starter, Will Fries, and he could very well be out for this game against the Buffalo Bills. Right tackle for the Indianapolis Colts, Braden Smith, is a good run blocker, but he can be beaten in pass protection. And understanding that Greg Rousseau, Von Miller, and all their players here, knowing that the Buffalo Bills could run the ball with James Cook against the Indianapolis Colts, who have given up the second most rushing yards so far this season, we could still run up the score, maybe not passing the ball with Josh Allen, but running it with James Cook and Ray Davis. And honestly, the Indianapolis Colts defense is a very, very fast defense, especially these linebackers. Zaire Franklin is a speed demon linebacker that is excellent in coverage. And, I think it's just dangerous. When you have this much speed on the defense and you're passing it, they have the ability to keep up with their tight ends, with their running backs, with their wide receivers, and it just makes things awfully dangerous, especially with linebackers flying around and making plays. I get it, the Buffalo Bills are awfully thin at wide receiver this week, especially if Keon, Coleman, and Amari Cooper can't go, and the concern there is that the Indianapolis Colts are a very physical team offensively and defensively, really relying on running the football and trying to control the clock, keep Josh Allen on the sidelines, and ultimately that is how teams have beaten us in the past. But seeing how weak they are at stopping the run of their own, the Buffalo Bills don't necessarily need to rely on our wide receivers to run up the score against them. We could run up the score just running the football with James Cook and Ray Davis and really take them out of what they want to do. If we get up by 1 or 2 possessions, especially later in the game, we're going to force Joe Flacco to start passing the ball against the strength of this team, against Rasul Douglas, against Terrell Bernard in pass coverage, against Taron Johnson and Christian Benford and all the other players that we have here that are playmakers. And don't forget our elite pass rushing with Von Miller, Greg Rousseau, which we saw in that article that their run blocking on that offensive line is a little bit better than their pass blocking. Therefore, a guy like Greg Rousseau, Von Miller, Ed Oliver could definitely get in there and start sacking and hitting Joe Flacco. We all know that's not what the Indianapolis Colts want to do. They want to limit the passes from Joe Flacco. They want to establish a run, have play action, limit the turnovers, and keep the game close until the very end. Whereas the Buffalo Bills, our goal here is to run up the score, take Jonathan Taylor out of the game, take that offensive line, the run blocking offensive line for the Indianapolis Colts out of the game. We really want to get them in a situation that they don't want to be. Well, I appreciate you guys all so much. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit like, subscribe for future content. Check the links down below in the description. You guys can get the BNC chicken wing merch, free shipping, sizes all the way up to 5XL. You guys can get blue, gray, red, black, all sorts of different colors, and 50 reviews, all 5-star reviews, very high quality, machine washable. Definitely check it out, as well as $20 off SeatGeek.com. You go to SeatGeek.com, use promo code BNC. You can use it off concerts, Sabres games, hockey games, any event in your local area. Just go to SeatGeek.com, use promo code BNC. And also, Course Careers is personally how I landed my full-time job in 2024. If you guys are looking to transition into a work-from-home job, I was a property manager in Kenmore, New York for 13 years, commuting every single day from Orchard Park to Kenmore. Absolutely hated it. And now I went through Course Careers. I got a certificate online. I had employers directly reach out to me, and I've been working full-time, absolutely managing this YouTube channel, managing my full-time job, and just living a much more fulfilled life. But I appreciate you guys all so much. If you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, and go Bills.